So, since before he even took office, Donald Trump has been talking about wanting to annex Greenland. He claims that it is a valuable territory for defense and military action, as well as like our economy or whatever. He's got a whole list of reasons for why we supposedly deserve to annex Greenland from, I believe it's Denmark that currently owns it. Very silly stuff, but how many of you guys actually believe he's serious? I want to know, say in chat, whether or not you think he's serious about wanting to annex Greenland, to the extent that he might actually seriously do something to try to achieve it. If you're not watching this live, you can leave a comment down below. I do appreciate it. It helps the channel when you do. And tell me whether or not you think Trump is serious about this, but I'm going to say that I think he is. I actually think that before the end of his second term, of which he's actually pushing for a third one, we'll be talking about that later, I think by the end of his second term, Donald Trump will have made serious moves to try and capture Greenland, whether it be demanding a conversation with leaders in Denmark over like how to, like what terms they want to sell it, or even putting out open threats to invade and engage in open conflict to take it over. I think he's going to do that. Yeah, I think he's serious. I don't think so at first, but I didn't think so at first, but he won't let it go. He keeps doubling down, right? Not only that, he's not just doubling down, but he's going hard, dude. Like, he is emphasizing that it's not just a matter of he wants it. He's claiming that from his perspective, supposedly, he would be failing as a president if he did not pursue annexing Greenland. In fact, recently Trump said, we must have Greenland. And I've got a video here from LBC that seems to break down the situation of what Trump has said in regards to Greenland and what his recent comments are. Because he has recently not just doubled down, but like emphasized that it is his intent still to take Greenland by the end of this term. Let's find out.
Vance, who's sort of he's just sort of the world's worst diplomat. It's just an extraordinary ability. So he's flown into an American airbase in Greenland with his wife, who's complained that it's really cold, using language that I can't use on the radio. Greenland, really cold. Whoever thought? And Vance then goes on and just basically makes loads of false assertions about how Denmark has treated the people of Greenland really badly. And the net result of this is just, I find it quite uplifting, which is that 4 of the 5 parties, political parties in Greenland, have now signed a coalition agreement to oppose Trump and J.D. Vance and their attempts to essentially make Greenland an extension of the United States. I mean...
Of course, Denmark and Greenland leaders are not welcoming Trump to Greenland with open arms. Of course, they're not open to the idea of Greenland being a territory of the U.S., just like Canada doesn't want to become a state. You know, I have a theory, call it crazy. I think Trump's goal, because he considers himself Emperor of America and thus the world, he doesn't plan to give up his power. Like, he's going for a third term. He's basically announced it. I'll be talking about it later, but he's going for a third term. So in his vie for global domination, he's got to conquer countries. And I think from his perspective, he needs to conquer all of North America, like the northern parts of North America, and then start going south. That's probably how his brain thinks. And so he wants to take Greenland and probably turn it into, I think, nothing but oil fields and military bases by which he could then front an invasion of Canada. If Trump is feeling extra spicy, he might try and organize something with Russia, with Putin, such that Russia would invade from the east, or from the west. It would invade Canada from the west. The U.S. would invade Canada from the south and the directly east and a bit north, because, you know, Greenland has such a strategic place right there north of Canada. I know it doesn't look like it on maps that are flattened out, but Greenland on the globe is north of Canada. And so, yeah, I think Trump wants Greenland because it would mean that Canada is basically surrounded by enemies. Like, overnight, snap of your fingers. Russia on one side, America hostile on the other side, Greenland now owned by America, hostile on another side, and then you've got nothing to go with. Straight, I guess if you go north enough, you start going south and there's more Russia. So Canada would be completely closed in. And I feel like Putin and Trump are not past basically working together to try and conquer Canada and divvy up the land. I don't think they're above that. So Trump just wants to LARP as Putin and invade a country. Trump doesn't get along with any of our biggest allies. None of the world leaders that are our greatest, he doesn't get along with any of the other leaders of the free world. He just doesn't. They don't. They're pro democracy and liberal politics, like just basic liberalism, right? He's antithetical to all those things, so he doesn't get along with them. But the tyrants like Kim Jong-un and Putin, he gets along with spectacularly. I mean, him and Netanyahu are basically best friends. Like they're actually buddies. Like they're friends.
I just want to talk very briefly about the United States, Greenland, its attitudes towards Denmark. I was talking to Elliot earlier and just saying it just feels like the world has just gone completely mad since Trump's gone to the White House, and we're sort of discussing that that we've lived for years and years and years, certainly since the war, under sort of agreed protocols about how things are done that people haven't really never really given much thought to before. It's just how things are done, and Trump's come in and smashed them apart. And whilst we're yet to see any sort of sense of rebuilding from this deconstruction, this destabilisation, I have to say, if you lived in Greenland, in Denmark, Canada, Mexico, and some of the language that's coming out of the White House or from J.D. Vance, you really have to wonder. Well, I'm joined by...
At what point do all these countries decide to say fuck it, like group up together and decide they're just going to like invade America? Like how much can the president of a country repeatedly say, like, I can't wait to invade Canada. I can't wait to make it the 51st state. Mexico, we're coming for you next. We're coming for you next, Mexico. Then you, Greenland. And then he just starts threatening, like, European countries, like, you know, Finland, it's pretty close to Greenland when you think about it. It's pretty darn close. Mr. President, it's not close enough. I don't know. I'm looking at a globe right now. It looks pretty close. It's like one finger length away. I say that we start moving to take over Finland as well. You know, like, once Trump's going after European countries, I feel like there's a good chance that, like, America gets cumulative, like, just gets all its allies going against it in actual war. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. But do I think it's definitely not going to happen? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's definitely not going to be what happens, because good Lord, what can you do as a responsible world leader but take the president of the world's most powerful country seriously when they say that invasion is imminent? That, like, forced annexation is imminent. Eventually you have to take that seriously and start having talks about how you're going to take preemptive action against these threats of imminent war. Not like, oh, do this or war, but like, war's coming, get ready. Like, what do you, at that point, you take it seriously. You've got to.
Morten Runneland, Danish political commentator and journalist from Denmark. Good morning to you, Morten.
Good morning.
I mean, J.D. Vance touching down in Greenland, his wife remarking that it's extremely cold, which is, I mean, just such an infantile comment, it's beyond belief. And then the language that followed. Denmark doesn't look after Greenland, which has prompted Greenland's politicians to unite in opposition to what the United States is doing. Can you make any sense of this, Morten?
No, I really can't. But it has had that positive effect that the coalition government in Greenland is very wide now. It's a lot of parties across all spectrums just coming together and being one Greenland against this sort of...
It's wild how much America has united the parties of other countries against us. Like, all the parties in Canada are united on their, like, Canadian patriotism against the U.S.'s aggression. All of the parties in the UK, Denmark, Finland, like all across Europe and everyone has solidarity with the fact that what America is doing right now is fucked. Because even if you're like a Canadian nationalist, even especially if you're a Canadian nationalist, like far right Canadian party guy, you are not in favor of what Trump is doing. Not to your country, not to Canada. If Trump was a Canadian president doing this as Canada to other countries, they'd be in favor of it, but they're not at all in favor of it being done to them. And so there is, from leftist Canadians to Canadian white nationalist Canadians, there is a surprising amount of just not even unity, just like, yeah, no shit, the expectation is that you buy Canadian, you know, like buy Canadian, don't send money to America, boycott this shit, you know. It's not even a politics thing either. Like, store owners are just putting up signs that say buy Canadian instead, and where there once were American products. It's like, it's just a cultural thing, and that's not just a Canada thing. Mexico's doing the same thing, and I have no doubt that Denmark is probably doing something similar.
Strange entity that is the U.S. right now.
I can't help but wonder, when you look at Donald Trump's inverted commas peace plan for Ukraine, which now broadly looks like where you can be run by Russia or we'll take everything you have and that's peace. Seems a very poor deal. But you can see that Trump wants stuff from Ukraine badly. What's his interest in Greenland? What's he want?
I think military position and oil.
The hypothesis could be that there is always also stuff in Greenland that he would be interested in. Yes. A lot of natural resources in earth minerals, stuff like this.
Natural gas.
There is the security issue, but everybody knows this. We've already on this. They have a base on Greenland. This is not new information. So maybe
earth
it's about the natural resources of Greenland this time.
One can't help but wonder if that is the interest. How do you foresee the remainder of Trump's presidency? How is it going to affect the people of Greenland and Denmark?
Well, it depends on how he's going to proceed, because he has changed his stance a little bit. It's now about the Greenlandic people can choose their own faith, and they think it's going to be America, whereas in the beginning it was, we're going to take it by.
Well, no, okay, so this is what Trump always does, right? He posits something insane, and then everybody starts freaking out about what he said, while the MAGA starts sanity washing it, as I like to call it. They start playing it down, saying, well, he didn't really mean that, and if he did, then he meant this, and if he didn't, then he meant that, and then if he did really mean that, then you just don't understand it, and if you do, it's, well, others have done worse. And then they do their whole like line of defense for Trump and trying to soften the blow to Trump's reputation. And then Trump and MAGA work together to try and brainwash people into thinking that what he said was actually smart. And I think that's the stage that we're in now, where we've gone from the open threats of annexing through like invasion on Greenland to, I'm just saying the people of Greenland have a choice, and I think they're going to choose us. I'm just saying I think they're going to choose us. And obviously there's not any real intention to give Greenlanders like a vote on whether or not they join America or whatever could be done. It's a lot like Putin saying that soldiers marching west into Ukraine from Russia would be met with roses and big welcome rugs and whatnot, because Putin and the propaganda told a lot of the first wave of soldiers that the people of Ukraine, especially eastern Ukraine, are Russian, and they want to be Russian, and they want to be part of Russia, so they're going to welcome the annexing. And they didn't. And that was a big wake-up call, was that, oh shit, no, they do not welcome the annexing. But the reason why these soldiers, the Russian soldiers, were hit so off guard in that first headline, like frontline push, was because they'd been so heavily propagandized to by their Trump, Putin, their equivalent to Trump, that what they were doing was something that the people wanted, and it was the tyrannical party of the president of Ukraine that was pushing for Ukrainian sovereignty. And so they went in thinking that they were going into a country whose popular support was for them to take that land. And it just wasn't the case. It's the right wing propaganda they ate up got a lot of them killed.
By force, it could be military. That kind of has changed over the last few weeks. So a lot depends on which way he takes it in his rhetoric. He hasn't really done anything apart from these visits. But the next step is really up to him. It seems the Danish government is keeping in line with this is a part of our kingdom, and we will work. Denmark will work for the independence of Greenland, but over years, over time, one step at a time.
My next question, I don't want it to sound crass, because as you rightly said, there was this sort of threat of, we'll take it by force, but is there a sort of sense this is sort of like madness, like it's some kind of bad joke being played out by Trump?
Yeah, we are in disbelief. That's the reaction here. It's disbelief. The question is, what's the strategy?
Yeah,
and also, why this method? Why is this the method? It lacks some sort of diplomatic elegance, and that confuses.
Trump has no intention to be diplomatically elegant. Let's be real. His goal is just to, epically meme his way into being empire of the world, or emperor of the world. And if you think that's crazy, Trump epically memed his way into the White House twice. So it's pretty clear that his method not only works, but he has every reason to think that method works and to continue doing it. So I think he's doing the same thing he's always done. He's just going to keep pretending like it's a meme while repeatedly saying he's serious, until it becomes undeniable he's serious, in which case he'll own it. But at that point, he'll have softened the blow enough with all the memeing that everyone just accepts it. And at that point, the media has already discredited itself to a bunch of people by blowing up over these claims. So when Trump actually launches an invasion on Greenland, a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, but it happened a year after CNN said it would. Those fake newsmongers just got lucky. That is actually how people will rationalize it.
To say the least.
That's part, I think, of this Trump sort of smashing down the protocols that the world has operated on since the war, and with nothing to replace them with at the moment.
Yeah, but does it work? Things have been smashed. That's true, but we haven't really seen anything work. We haven't seen him, oh, that's the trick. Yes. We haven't had this epiphany of, oh, he's smart yet. It's just a lot of crashing stuff.
It certainly is. And I mean, it probably doesn't offer you any comfort at all, but certainly your friends here in Britain are as absolutely sort of stunned and mystified by it as you guys are in Denmark. It's a crazy world, and it seems to be being made crazier for no really good reason. J.D. Vance arguing it.
What a good way of putting that. What a crazy world we're in. And it's just getting crazier for seemingly no real good reason. I like that way of putting it. So accurate, too, I did a segment last night, about how this Giza pyramid scan conspiracy theory is being passed off as a real news headline. And it's being talked about like it's real news, when it's literally an Alex Jones InfoWars guy who posited a single paper that's unpeer-reviewed that suggests there's some kind of structures they found through vibrations and radio signal radar, whatever, through the soil or the sand. And no one else has found the same findings. No one, period. It's only them that have made that paper. But the paper is from 2 years ago. It resurfaced, and now everyone is running with it like it's bona fide fact. And that's where we are right now. A nonsense conspiracy theory paper written by a guy from InfoWars is being passed off across the internet as real news. We've lost it. We've actually collectively lost it. I don't know how else to explain it anymore, other than the world has just gotten crazier. And now we look crazy for not being as crazy as everyone else, I guess. Trust me, it feels like that sometimes, especially when you're getting bullied online for being progressive, and it's like, I'm getting called cringe by a guy who thinks Jewish space lasers cause forest fires. It's just only online. in the year 2025 of our Lord, I guess. Anyway, guys, if y'all enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider hitting the like button and leaving a comment down below. Every single thumbs up and comment only takes a second to leave. It's totally free, and each time you do it, each time you do both things, it boosts my channel in the algorithm and kind of zaps the YouTube algorithm into pushing my content and my channel out to more people who've never seen my stuff before, helping to grow the channel. So thank you to everybody who does that. It is the best way to support me, and it really means a lot. But of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms doing other stuff, you can follow my social medias, which are all linked down below in the description. Particularly joining my fan Discord, I highly recommend that. It is the main hub of my fan base and community. I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties. Excuse me, I had to burp. And movie nights in my Discord, and on top of that, I announce all my new uploads and streams there, so if you don't want to miss anything at all, that's the place to be. And finally, if you can afford it and you feel like it and you want to, then you can always support me directly, financially, to help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or you can support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or if you feel like it and you want to get yourself some neat new clothes, you can buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a good one.